became the apple of the eye of Americans. Their money, all that went into Pakistan, got into Pakistan army, and Pakistan army became the richest. And that is represented by 71% market capitalization, which means $30 billion is the amount of liquid resources that Pakistan army commands. If there is Lashkar Taiba, if there is Jaish-e-Mohammed, if there is any other terror organizations, Pakistan's budget need not fund them. It is funded by the Soldiers Foundation, which controls $30 billion of market capitalization of Pakistan. Nowhere in the world, no other army people are entitled to just pension. They are supposed to work for the country. But here is a country where an army owns the country, an army owns the economy, an army owns the market capitalization, an army owns nearly 20 to 30,000 jihadis raised in the nurseries of Pakistan. And there is a book which was released by Pakistan writers after Musharraf took over in 1999, which is one of the finest books which the Indians must read. How a Barelvi Pakistan was turned into a Devbandi Pakistan, and how terror became the rule of law, and people could walk with guns in their hands. This impacted on India. So they wanted to kill India by 1,000 cuts. I was very much involved in the politics in those days. I don't think many would be aware of it. I was very closely associated with the transition and how the Congress was defeated in 1989 and VP Singh came to power. VP Singh came to power as Prime Minister on the 2nd of December, 1989. Mufti Muhammad Syed was the Home Minister. This was on the 2nd of December. On the 9th of December, Mufti Muhammad Syed's daughter is kidnapped by terrorists. The Home Minister of India, his daughter was kidnapped. I was desperate to send a message to Mr. VP Singh. In those days, there was no cell phone. I told him, before you make a deal with the terrorists to get that lady released, ask the Home Minister to resign. And after the deal is over, let him become the Home Minister again. But this message could not reach. So the ignominy of the Indian government negotiating with the terrorists, with the Home Minister of India negotiating for the release of his daughter, and that set many terrorists free. You can understand what was the state of India at the time, its psychology, and how the Kashmiris would have felt that here is a group of people who can shake the Home Minister by kidnapping his own daughter. I was a personal eyewitness to what was happening at the time, a helpless state, a meaningless state, an impotent state. And by 1990, virtually Srinagar was out of control. They had taken over Srinagar. We had to wage a rearguard war. That is how terrorism took root in Kashmir. And as a result, Pakistan army, you see, terrorism is not something which grew on its own. It was propped up, it was funded, it was inspired. Pakistan army people were transferred and put into charge of specific organizations. And even now, the Pahalgam attacker was an ex-Pakistan army commando. So there was, jihadis were moving into army people were turning into jihadis. These are all openly known. With the result, from 2005 to 2007, at least 15,000 people were killed. In 2008, in front of the whole world over television, which was televised, 48 hours of terror on Bombay. We all saw. The government also saw. The government appealed for peace. And our Prime Minister and the National Security Advisor and the Home Minister were promoting candle lights processions for peace and harmony. For whose peace and harmony? You can understand how our army was humiliated in front of the world. What is the damn army for? If they cannot protect their own people from being killed on the television screen, slaughtered, the army hanged its head in shame. That was 2008. That is why I wrote in my article that a candlelight bearing India in Operation Sindoor attacked the terrorists at their source, in their homes, in their mansions, through BrahMos. How this transformation occurred is what we have to understand. This didn't come by a magic wand. So, how it was transformed? I told you about Pakistan. India is a very different country. You know, Pakistan has a theology. We have a philosophy. Theology is only what I believe is right, my God is right, other gods are wrong, my way of life is right, other ways are wrong. This is theology. This becomes political ideology. That is what Muslim League propped up. And it has been a disaster for Pakistan, it has been a disaster for Bangladesh, but not a disaster for India. We have more Muslim population than Pakistan. We have more Muslim population than Bangladesh. Our Muslim population is only less than Indonesia's. But we live in peace with them. We have problems. Problems do not mean that we can't live together. India has demonstrated it, not only demonstrated, it has moved away from history because it is philosophy. You know what is philosophy? Nobody who was a philosopher, who was a historian, who was a sociologist, who was an intellectual, brought about the distinction between philosophy and ideology. It is Bill Clinton, who I was surprised that a political leader who was not greatly known for his intellectual capacities, like Lincoln or anybody, he said, we are now caught in the grip of ideology, which says only I am right, you are wrong. We have to move to philosophy, which means I am right and maybe you are also right. This is what informs the Indian civilization for thousands and thousands of years. We have been able to avoid quarrels, fights, bloodsheds. And I will give you a proof. Research was done by Professor R.J. Ramal of Hawaii University. It's all available on the net. That is, Democide, Power Kills, is the title of the website. Everyone after this meeting is over, go and click and see that website. In that website, he has captured the mass slaughter, bloodletting that had happened in the world from the 5th century before the Common Era and 20th century. For 2,500 years, he has captured in research places where it happened, who killed whom, how many people were killed. He has put it on the site. He says till the 13th century, everywhere, 680 million people to 1.2 billion people had been slaughtered in the world by human action against human beings. He said the only geography in which there was no mass killing till the 13th century was India, Bharat. How is it that we did not kill each other? The only exception is Emperor Ashoka's Kalinga War. we believed that the other man can also be right. I don't know how many of you have read History of Kerala by Padmanabha Menon. Sir, you get the 100 copies and give to our intellectuals in Kerala. Padmanabha Menon had written about the war model of India and of the Zamori kings. When Portuguese attacked the Zamori kings, the Zamori king wrote a letter to Portuguese. Gentlemen, simply because you have a large army and I have a large army, we need not clash. But even in clashing, we have a model. We will beat the drum in the morning to say we are ready for war. If you beat the drum, he will attack you. In the evening, if you beat the drum, he will stop the war. There should be no night fight. We should not fight where the people are. There is a large playground outside and there are lakes on both sides. You can perch your army there. I can perch my army here. Then the Portuguese said, is he asking for war or sports? Even in war, we were not violent. Even in war. The Zamori king model is, which must be taught in every school and college in Kerala, that they say, we have 20,000 people, please. Send the best 100 of your fighters. We will send 100 of our fighters, let them fight. If one loses, maybe at that point we may call off the war. Next you send 200 of your people. We will send 200 of our people. Have you ever seen a more noble war model? This is India. This is there in Mahabharata. This was the war model adopted by Prithviraj Chauhan against Muhammad Ghori. Simply because the opponent is defeated, he should not be killed. He let him off 17 times because the defeated king should not be killed. This is India. So we had another view of life. Because of that we may have lost, but we did not become violent. And so, we are a democracy. We have an army which serves the nation, which does not own the nation. Pakistan army owns the nation, doesn't serve the nation, doesn't serve the people. It only targets the enemies. It has covert warfare. But we have an army which serves the people humbly, for salaries, for pension, and for higher feeling of patriotism. This is the difference between the two countries. But we lost heavily because we did not understand the psychology of India. So, how this transformation took place? I'll give you two examples as to how peace with Pakistan, as Pakistan is constituted, is a disaster.